Constitution of 1937 represented a fresh start in respect of the fundamental principles that were to govern this country. We, the people of Eire, say there was never an intention for there to be a further constitution existing side by side and outside of the primary law of this land, be that written or unwritten. Therefore, the question whether it is the destiny of the Irish Constitution to be more than just a piece of paper depends not only on the nobility of its contents, but on the watchfulness of the Irish people. We, the people of Eire, hereby give notice to all whom it concerns that the rule of law in and of this island of Eire is Bunreacht na hÉireann, enacted by the people on the 1st of July 1937 and in operation from the 29th of December 1937. Fidelity to the nation and loyalty to the state are fundamental and political duties of all citizens. Part 3. Notice of cure and remedy. Remedy and cure for the protection of fundamental rights of the Irish nation and the protection of the territory Eire. Notice to agent is notice to principal. Notice to principal is notice to agent. To all men and states, we, the people of Eire, hereby forthwith serve formal notice of cure and remedy. You are hereby notified that the Irish people considers your failure to act as pursuant to Irish law as set out in the Irish Constitution as conditions that have caused destruction to Irish life, political, economic and cultural, and these failures are endangering the Irish people and the territory Eire. The governments have committed the following fundamental constitutional wrongdoings against we, the people of Eire. Over the years, odious governments have, at the expense of the Irish people, licensed Eire's natural resources and plan to benefit from her destruction by way of precious metal and natural resources prospecting, licensing and mining, as well as the disposal of higher activity radioactive waste materials in geological disposal facilities. All this for the benefit of foreign corporate entities. National and local industries, such as the essential agriculture and fishing industries, have and continue to face extreme legislation which serves to delimit the capability of the Irish nation to provide for its fundamental and vital needs. Furthermore, compromising the nation's ability and right to pursue adequate means for a good standard of living. Diabolic governments have allowed the prospecting and licensing for the poisoning of our air, land and waterways. The private banking industry has been allowed to perpetuate fraudulent transactions and contractual obligations on an industrial scale, resulting in untold property and land repossessions and confiscations with no redress or accountability. Frequent, brutal and violent unlawful trespass and evictions of thousands of Irish families and people over the last 2 decades alone have occurred, often with the assistance of An Garda Síochána and the Police Service of Northern Ireland, whose duty it is to protect life, protect property and preserve the peace. State-run industrial workhouses and care institutions have and continue to cause untold generational traumas, physical, mental and psychological, with no justice or accountability for the victims or families. Additionally, the sanctity of life itself is not being honoured, respected, nor treated with dignity. Since the 16th of March 2020, diabolic entities within the halls of governance have ruled and legislated with impunity over the Irish people and Irish law despite sustained and ever-increasing outcry. Legislation repugnant to the Irish Constitution has been used by state agencies to curtail the various freedoms of the Irish people and create a two-tier society of the vaccinated and unvaccinated. Government conspiring with foreign unelected entities to implement the United Nations Agenda 2030, a blueprint for technocracy, under the guise of saving the earth, which undermines national sovereignty and personal autonomy, with negative consequences on the Irish people far outweighing the benefits. Additionally, conspiring with the World Health Organization to agree amendments to the Pandemic Treaty, which would circumvent national government authority and result in the World Health Organization morphing from an advisory body to a global law enforcement agency. State broadcasters have disseminated fear and propaganda whilst promoting gene-altering therapeutics still in clinical trial via emotional, manipulative and coercive means. There has been an exponential increase in homelessness, and the needs of others are being prioritised over the needs of the Irish people. Thousands of undocumented and unvetted men under the guise of refugees have gained unfettered access to our national territory upon invitation by the Government of Ireland, under the diktats and rules of foreign, unelected governmental entities. This has resulted in an increase of violent crime, which is not being dealt with appropriately by any of the relevant governmental or non-governmental bodies. Yet, our borders remain open to all, with the Irish Defence Forces facilitating, whilst an unarmed populace, vulnerable populace, remain feeling insecure in their homes, on the public streets, and at their places of work. Entities involved in international disputes and conflicts have been, and continue to be, permitted to use the land, airspace and territorial seas of and belonging to ERA. This despite our neutral status. Additionally, ever-increasing focus is now on attacking the natural, God-given and fundamental rights of Irish national life. Those rights include, but are not limited to, personal rights, the right of the family and woman within the home, the right of the family as the primary and natural educator of the child, the right of man in his virtue of his rational being to the ownership of private property, the right to religious freedom and to practice a faith of one's own choosing. We have fundamental rights which are derived from natural law, embodied and codified in our national primary law, An Bunreacht, and which are superior and antecedent to all positive law. These are universal, endowed from our Creator, and are inalienable, indefeasible and imprescriptible, which no men or states can impede or infringe upon at law. The state has exploited its position and ministerial codes of office and has stepped out of the boundaries and remit set out in the national written constitution of ERA. We, the people of ERA, do not consent to being governed and legislated by foreign, unelected, poor, odious and diabolic governmental institutions and non-governmental organisations. We, the Irish people, as custodians of the primary national law of and belonging to ERA, declare and affirm that we are invoking the primary and fundamental law of this land, Bunreacht na hÉireann, enacted by the people on the 1st of July 1937 and in operation from the 29th of December 1937. Additionally, we are hereby exercising our inalienable, indefeasible and sovereign right to seek a constitutional challenge, judicial review and judicial determination on the validity and constitutionality of the current legislation and amendments passed which were enacted into Irish law. And that's it.
So, where does that leave us, folks? Well, this is what we've created, and it's all bounded together, as Sarah Jane has just stated, as one document in form of affidavit, notice jurisdiction, notice cure and remedy, in full rebuttal, 28-day rebuttal. It was posted on 15th of January 2024, and the 17th of January 2024 internationally. There is 520 recipients, and there is two more recipients that will be receiving this very soon. They range from the President, an Taoiseach, an Taoiseach, the Chief Justice, all organs of state on this island, both north and south, all political parties, regardless of political beliefs.
We have the MLAs and we have the TDs.
Yeah.
And the judiciary.
The senators, judges, justices, and we are doing what Michael D. Higgins and Nicola O'Hearn called upon us to do. We have recalled our factual settings, and this is our findings. And we, the people, have, as you see, it is in Cló Gaelic, the first national official principle, text and language, as pursuant to the Irish Constitution, which was enacted by the people. It has been translated into the English text for translational purposes only. It has been signed by 7 signatories as in the spirit of the proclamation and the founding document of nationhood. And it is signed men and women in Cló Gaelic and our thumbprint. We do this with no malice or ill will intended. Well, what we would like is justice restored and the jurisdiction of the judiciary corrected to Irish courts. Currently, we seem to be operating under the Crown establishment, which would be the 1922 Irish Free State Constitution, which was repealed in Article 48 of this Constitution, and all powers vested in that state were returned to the people on the 11th of December 1936 on the abdication of King Edward VIII. Moving forward, there will be a PDF of this in white and green text. Everything will be there, the list of recipients, the signatures. You can add your signature to the signatures page. The address which is on this here will be removed, the return address and the email. You have the opportunity to put your address in, or whatever address care of your choosing, and your email or whatever. You can look through the list of recipients. The number 1 recipient is, as I say, Michael D. Higgins, and he is the custodian of the Irish Constitution. That's where he derives his authority from, and we are now calling on him to do the right thing and give us the judicial review, judicial determination, and restore justice and restore constitutional law as it should be in its natural essence on the entire island era. We have been through 800 years of perpetual war on this island, and I think we've been through enough as a nation. We have been manipulated, we have been coerced. It's not good, and now our Irish nationality, it seems to be a crime to celebrate Irishness, where it is celebrated gleefully across the world, in many, many locations. But it seems to be a crime here. So the PDF will be going up on www.bunrock1937.ie, our website, where you can avail and download yourself a copy of the original Constitution, 63 article Clode Gaelic version, original script and orthography, and Article 1 of that would be the Preamble. And the Preamble would state, "In the name of the Most Holy Trinity, from whom all authority and to whom our final ends, all actions of both men and states will be referred. We, the people of Ireland, humbly acknowledging all our obligations to our divine Lord Jesus Christ, who sustained our fathers through centuries of trial and unremitting struggle to regain the rightful independence of our nation, and seeking to promote the common good through due observance, prudence, justice, and charity, so that the dignity and the freedom of the individual may be assured, true social order attained, and concord established with other nations, to hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves a Constitution." Bunrock na Hern, 1937. We have a YouTube channel. It is Bunrock na Hern 1937, and we have a Twitter account just recently uploaded. It is of the same Bunrock na Hern 1937. These PDFs will go up there. It is very important. Our natural law is enshrined in the Irish Constitution. They are inalienable, imprescriptible, and sovereign rights. They are superior to all positive law. They can only be changed in accordance with law via national referendum. We are being manipulated and coerced via diabolic entities within the halls of governance. They are dictating international law supersedes the Irish Constitution. The Irish Constitution is the rule of law for the land. Period. And all justices and the President and the government know it. Currently, the government have suspended the Constitution under emergency legislation for, let's say, a war in the east of Europe, where we may not be a belligerent, but our vital interests may be affected. That is an artificially extended meaning of Article 28.3 of the Irish Constitution, and that gives the government a full dictatorial role over its nation, which is unconstitutional to say the least, because it has been perpetually used to keep us enslaved since the 25th day of March 1942, when they brought out a colour of law, which is the Blue Constitution, and it states in the opening pages, the text in this Constitution is a copy of the text prepared in accordance with Article 25. However, Articles 51 to 63 conclusive still have the full force of law, and that is Article 52.2 of the Irish Constitution as pursuant to Article 63, under the full canopy of law, as justice will be administered on this entire island. Go on me and my august people. That's all I need to say today. If Sarah Jane wants to finish out.
I suppose I just wanted to highlight that all 520 recipients have received on Bunrock. Ignorance of law is no excuse. There we have, they have, each 520 people now have the law.
I just want to finish on an urge. These 520 recipients, what we're doing, we have done hard work here, people, right? We have prepared this here, we've got it translated, so they must honourably reply to us, because we have written to them in the first national official principal text, which is Clogh Gaelic, Irish font, Irish script and orthography, as enrolled in the office of the Registrar in the Supreme Court, as conclusive evidence of the provisions of this Constitution in case of conflict between the Irish and English text. The Irish text will take supremacy, and we're calling upon that now. That is the full canopy of law. Everything else is a derivative of law. It is a working definition of this rule of law, accepted by a majority. We need people to print this out, sign it, put it into an A4 and send it registered post. Keep your receipt, take the sticker off it, put your sticker on your receipt and upload them, get them to us. We have cast a stone, and that stone has started a ripple. That ripple effect in 6 months' time can become a tsunami. And we can, under public peer political pressure, petition the government of Ireland and the Stormont institutions and Westminster and the EU Parliament, of which these foreign dictates have been ruling over us with impunity. The name of the state is Eire. It's a sovereign, independent, democratic state. The national flag is a tricolour, green, white and orange. This is the founding document of the state, the proclamation, and this is the democratic programme, which was read out on the 21st of January 1919 in the Round Room in Mansion House. This was read out on the 24th of April 1916 on the steps of the GPO by Paddy Pierce.
And this is the minutes of the Dáil, the first sitting of the Dáil.
Here, which was written in Clogh Gaelic in the opening minutes, and we have it translated, and it states distinctly that the first Dáil was a provisional government set up until the people gave themselves a written constitution. On the 6th of December 1921, the Anglo-Irish Treaty was signed, took 10 months to ratify, and was brought into force on the 6th of December 1922. That had an oath to the King, and Eamon de Valera and the people, the Republicans of this country, were unhappy with still being a dominion under the King and the Commonwealth of Nations. Therefore, when the King abdicated on the 11th of December 1936, de Valera seized that moment as pursuant to the proclamation and struck for her freedom. And he gave the people a draft constitution, draft unwrapped, and from that draft unwrapped on the 1st of July, they voted on this. On the 1st of July 1937, they brought in on the 29th of December the full colour of law. The full rule and canopy of law. So, with that being said, people, I think we've said enough, and it's over to you now to put the pressure on the government of Ireland, and where anybody, you look at this here, and if you see a judge, if you're up against a judge, they have received a copy of this and a copy of the Constitution by registered post via the UPC, the Universal Postal Code.
And guys, so what the people hopefully will do now is print off the letter from the website. You can put your address into it, your email address. You make sure to put the date on it, and you will see where the signatories are, that you can fit your name in along here somewhere, you and your families. You can write it over to the side or whatever.
In Irish, preferably.
Yeah, you can find the Clogh Gaelic alphabet online if you want to write it in Clogh Gaelic. Preferably Irish, yeah. So print it off, send it off by registered post, take a photograph of your receipt with the recipient on it, and send it to us, and we will keep a track of all those who have received the letter. So we have invoked the Constitution, and it's up now to the people to follow suit.
Coincidentally, it is up to the government to take notice because we have had 3 acknowledgements. One is,
So we have a barrister.
okay, we'll not name that barrister's name, we'll keep their anonymity. Thank you for getting back to us and acknowledging and thanking us for it.
We have a minister, I'll not say which minister it is.
Okay.
A minister, and
they have acknowledged it and taken note. Now we're expecting our written reply.
And also from
A Chief Garda Commissioner has also acknowledged it, taken note of it, and we are looking forward to your written reply, along with everybody else in this list, if you want to act in an honourable way in a democratic society.
So this is a lawful solution
to
everything.
Yeah, it's a viable solution. We're not saying it's the answer, the be all and end all. A lot of people don't like things within this here. It can be done with referendum, but it needs to be a national referendum. What I have seen here is what happens in the south, in the so-called statelet of the Republic of Ireland. When you have a referendum, say, let's for instance say the abortion referendum 2018, I think it was. Well, in 2020, because it was changed on the Constitution, the third Dáil went across to Westminster, who legislate for Northern Ireland, made Northern Ireland, put it into law up here. And we now, in Northern Ireland, Ulster, have the most liberal, godless abortion legislation in the Western Europe. It's that serious.
And that was only
no vote. We weren't offered a vote. We weren't offered a referendum. So what I have made out here out of this is what happens down below affects us all. 3/4 never made a whole. As you can see, there is on this, that's a map of Oireachtas, and that's Ulster. And those 3 provinces, when they do a referendum, it affects us up here. But yet we cannot vote for the presidency or anything like that. But yet I can hold an Irish passport, and on that Irish passport, if you open up, and I think it's page 4, there's a map of the territory of where that state has territory and jurisdiction. And it is the island of Oireachtas. It's territorial seas and islands, and it's very detailed. And if you look at the coinage, take out a coin and look, it is written as pursuant to the Constitution, Oireachtas. It is not Ireland. Ireland is a limited corporation, and that is for business purposes. We are sovereign, inalienable, indefeasible, and we are a democratic state, standalone and independent of everybody else. So, thank you, people.
Thank you.